Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to it's episode 2 of Rabbit Hole Ramblings. It's only cans tonight. Sorry for the delay. We're 10 minutes late. I had some trouble getting some videos updated. Listen, what we're doing, I'm back with Nikos. Big up to you, Nikos. How you doing?
Good, mate. Thank you.
Good to see you, buddy. We're bringing on Eugene as well. Most of you that are coming over from the footballing space, the Tottenham space, will know, of course, Eugene and his negative Nancy takes on all things Tottenham. But you know what? Sometimes when you get a negative man about Spurs, what you really get is a realist about the way the world works. How you doing, Eugene? Good to see you, mate. Welcome.
Man,
Thank you for making your debut. How are you?
it's an honor. It's an honor. That's why I'm negative because I know how things are. So I'm just, as you said, I'm just being a realist.
No, it's all good, my man. It's all good. Good to see you all. Look, please do us a favor. Smash the like button straight out of the trap. Get the subscribe button going. Nikos, if you're on, and Eugene as well, if you're on like socials, doing your conspiracy stuff, and you want your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever plugged, then change the name or let us know, and I'll put it in the thing. But obviously this is episode 2, so I'd imagine that it's not going to have too many viewers. But what we're going to do, listen, what I've got planned for us generally, look, guys in the chat, just so you know, this is baby steps. We're literally dipping our toe into the world of conspiracy. I don't know how to go about it. The only rules that I really want to stick to, if possible, is to steer clear of any obvious religious, political swaths. That to me, it's not a place where I want to go. But talking about how the world works, generally speaking, any conspiracy you want to bring in, we'll bring in. But nothing too sort of, it's not the right time. The political environment isn't the right time to be going in on one on certain, who really runs the world or what's going on. All that sort of.
I'll look forward to the day we get to have that chat, but today's
we'll have a chat on it at some point in the future for sure, but it's not the right time now. And guys in the chat, this is what I'm trying to figure out how to do. I'm trying to learn code for this one thing only. I want to figure out how to run a Python thing so I can essentially do a wheel of fortune, a spin the wheel that lands on a category of conspiracy. And then from there, it randomly pulls out of my archive, out of my hard drive, one of like 300 or 400 random videos relating to that topic. I haven't got there yet. I'm still learning. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're just going to, again, bear with us as we're getting through this. We'll get more structure as we go. But what I've done is I've managed to upload about 50 random Instagram clips, reels or whatever, that are probably going to get the entire show shut down with some sort of copyright immediately. But I haven't seen them. So I've just picked them at random from random conspiracy type channels. So we're going to pull them up and see what they say. And then we'll talk about it for a few minutes and we'll go from there. And if we decide to go off on a tangent, then we'll go off on a tangent. Does that sound good, guys?
Perfect.
Good. By the way, do you know where the term conspiracy theory comes from? I'm sure you probably do, but do you know how it originated?
Wasn't it coined by the FBI after all the people were talking about the JFK assassination?
Nikos is my guy. Now I know that they ball. They know your conspiracies. Exactly that. It was to discredit people who were questioning the JFK assassassination. So it was a psyop.
We still don't know what happened there. We still don't know.
We do actually.
They released. Yeah, they released a bunch of files. I think since we've done one of our episodes before, they've released a bunch of files, and they haven't come out and said like who exactly it is. But there's lots of. I think it was like, is it 80,000 documents or something they released? Or the last couple of months.
We actually do. Listen to Danny Sheehan if you guys are interested. He was the lawyer for Carter. We actually know what happened. It's not official.
What happened then?
So, long story short, Nixon, he thought he's going to win when he lost. So right before he won, he formed a political assassination squad to kill Castro. It was kind of a unofficial. When he lost, the squad was still there, and it had a bunch of Cuban expats. So they tried to assassinate Castro. That didn't work. But that squad was still there. So then, after the missile crisis, Kennedy and what's the Russian guy's name? I should know that, but I forgot.
Gorbachev. No, that was earlier.
Gorbachev was it.
Sorry, that was well later. Sorry.
It was Khrushchev. They agreed to start disarming the nukes. So when that happened, the FBI, the CIA, because that was a big threat to the deep state and to the defense, they went to the mob in Miami, the Traficantes people, and said, "Hey, he's an issue. Let's get this done." So that assassination squad that was formed, they took out Kennedy
Well, but yeah, so
on behest of the CIA and the FBI and
who's
Lyndon Johnson.
saying this? Who you said? Who said this? The lawyer of who?
So look up Danny Sheehan. He actually talks about like the UFO. He's a Jesuit lawyer. He was a Carter's lawyer. He knows basically every conspiracy. Right now, he represents UFO guys, like the big ones. But he was working with Carter.
He's
He was
out the
working with
conspiracy
Nixon.
legal niche, has he? Is that what
Yeah,
he's doing?
but I mean, like if you listen to him, he was on Jesse Michaels' pod. He was a couple of pods. He knows everything about every conspiracy out there. Amazing. He's the one. And
between the three of us, we know. I'm more up to date with the kind of the since 2001. Since 2001, I'm all over it, right? But like, you know, like there's a lot of angles with the JFK one. To me, I think that the mob was involved, but I also think the mob, like I think Kennedy got to a point where he was basically disliked by about like 7 or 8 different groups. I think the mob wanted him gone as well, because the mob had the mafia had like got all of the Teamsters to vote and get everybody to vote for his father or his brother, whichever one it was, right? And then when he came into power, he tried to shut down the mafia, or he tried to shut down the Teamsters, and didn't pay back any of the loyalty to getting him input. So they wanted him gone. You got the vice president, who was caught on tape saying, "We're gonna kill that son of a bitch," or sorry, that we're gonna ruin that son of a bitch, because he wanted to be in power. You had him talking about shutting down the Federal Reserve. You don't fuck with the Federal Reserve. Rule 1: never fuck with the Fed. Right? That's why the Fed. I mean, if you zoom forward to like, why was it that the geezer in Iraq, Saddam Hussein, like why was it that he was nailed for like the 9/11 thing? It was because just coincidentally at the time he was trying to move oil. He was trying to get the African dinar or something going, so that they could trade oil and trade gold off of the US dollar, which was going to put a threat to the US dollar as the reserve currency, right? So I'm not trying to get off of the JFK thing, but like he got screwed. As did the same thing happen with Gaddafi in 2011 in the Arab uprising. He was trying to do the same thing, and he got garroted up the shit pipe by on his last moment on the planet when he got found in that giant oil pipe. Someone shoved a samurai sword up his taxi.
Both of those you just mentioned there, they both had agreed to trade oil in gold, and actually had created a gold-backed currency to accept oil. So they was actually in the process of stockpiling huge amounts of gold. I don't know if you believe in how much gold they got in Fort Knox, but they
got none.
Yeah, they got none. So by the sounds of it, America was left behind in regards to the accumulation of gold. So these two leaders of the biggest oil-rich countries in the world, they decided we're going to get rid of the petrodollar, which has, as you know, been the main trading currency of oil for however many decades it's been now. How many? Like, when was they first traded the petrodollar? Is it like 1930?
No. 1933, I think it was the genesis of the Federal Reserve. But it was in the 1978 or 1982 or something when America went to Saudi and basically did the deal on the petrodollar coming off of the gold reserve. Okay. And basically, ever since then, everything that we have, everything is fucked ever since then, because America is now the reserve currency of the world. Anybody that challenges that, unless they're a massive nation like China or Russia, everybody else gets killed. And I think that same thing happened with JFK. So as much as your conspiracy lawyer,
it's the nukes though. That was the last straw.
I think there was loads of different people that wanted to kill him.
And one person in the middle of everything for every one of those events, George H. Bush. Under the JFK, he was the director of the CIA, Iraq. He's the one who knows. He was in the middle of everything. All those conspiracies, all the wars, everything else. It was Bush and Cheney later. They're the ones who know about the UFOs, about all the assassinations, everything.
Yeah.
Sorry for.
No, I love it. This is what we do
here. We're getting ourselves
into we're getting ourselves going with the structure, so we're just going to jump around a little bit. Go on, Nikos.
Also, I think a week before he died, I think he made a statement, public statement, JFK, about shattering the FBI into 1,000 pieces or something. So he actually come out and said something against the FBI. I think that would have been the kind of.
Yeah. But ultimately, he established a secret phone line to Khrushchev because they were both of them so scared that we almost had like a nuclear war, like seconds away. So they both said, we're going to bypass KGB and CIA, whatever. You and I, there's a secret code. We'll talk. If anything happens, you and I will talk. And they agreed to start getting rid of nukes. And that was the final straw, according to my sources. According to Jeff. I have Jeff who's telling me.
ChatGPT.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know.
Conspiracy K. Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Decode. Sorry, man. Listen, I was not, you're not spamming. You just drop. It's just. I guess it's just because there's not that many people here. So when I see the same person comment a few times, I just immediately thought you were spamming. But now I see what you're doing, and I appreciate the code, mate. Yeah, keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. Code is everywhere. We will get to numerology. We will get to 33 and stuff, no doubt. Maybe it might come up in one of these videos. As I say, I haven't really seen too many. I think I've seen about 4 or 5 of them. Let's pick one at random and let's see what we get. Let's see what happens here. So just so you guys know, when the video plays, you'll be muted, Eugene and Nikos. So will I. So we'll have to wait to the end. They're only about a minute each or whatever. So we'll just wait and see what happens. All right. Let's find out what the first one is, shall we? Let's go for this one.
Seen some people getting very excited about finding out about the owner of GB News, is Paul Marshall, who's a billionaire, and he owns GB News, The Spectator. He put a bid in for the Telegraph. He owns Unheard, and he uses those media assets to progress his agenda ultimately. And it's just a kind of right-wing nationalist thing that he's pushing. What people aren't talking about is where Paul Marshall got his money from. And he became a billionaire because in 1997 he co-founded a hedge fund called Marshall Wace, which is still in operation today. And he did that going 50-50 with George Soros. So George Soros put in $25 million. Paul Marshall and his partner, Mr. Wace, whatever his name is, put in $25 million. And then they set this thing up with $50 million of capital. He's now turned that into hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. That means that Paul Marshall, the owner of GB News, is business partner with George Soros. George Soros is one of the biggest funders, should I say, of Black Lives Matter, amongst other things. And also, interestingly, the International Rescue Committee, IRC, which is currently overseen by the Chief Executive, David Miliband, former Labour cabinet minister under Tony Blair, and he's been doing that job for goodness me for about 8 years now, earning a lot of money. David Miliband earns about $500,000 a year. If you go to look at the International Rescue Committee website, they've got a whole section which is about welcoming refugees into Europe and integrating them into society. If you go to the GB News website, you can see they've got a tab on their on the top of their website which talks about the migrant crisis. And behind both of them,
I know where this one's going. I think it's another 2 minutes on it. So GB News, I'm not sure everyone in the UK knows this, but GB News in the UK is like the main, still mainstream, but alternative mainstream, very right wing. I didn't want to get into politics first fucking video.
Away from politics and
so typical, unbelievable. But yeah, so they're very supportive of Israel, very right wing, very much anti Keir Starmer, anti the kind of immigration problems, all that stuff. But essentially, the owner, the founder, Marshall, was financed by George Soros, who is the most left wing donor that there's going. So essentially, what's his name, George? I guess this is pointing out the story that George Soros does what he does, where he likes to stoke the flames of both sides. He likes to create anger, animosity, division on both sides. You think of him as a left wing, it wouldn't look right if it was him that was funding GB News, but obviously he is by proxy of the guy that made a fortune through his money and his financing. So it's just layering. It's a layer cake of influence that controls both sides. George Soros really is the puppet master, isn't he? He's one of the puppet masters right at the top, right?
He is. I don't know if you guys know this whole story about the World War II and what he was doing as a kid.
Yeah.
Since that, and then how he made his money. He ruined the current, like he basically ruined the currency of a country that went into a depression.
Yeah,
I believe I
Thailand.
forgot which country it was.
Thailand. He ruined the Bank of Thailand,
Yep.
and he tried to ruin the Bank of England.
Yep.
It's more difficult to destroy the Bank of England, but he genuinely did put hundreds of or like tens of millions of Thai people into abject poverty.
Yep. And what he's doing in the States.
Justification, like you say, mate, his justification was bought when he was a kid. For those of you watching don't know, he was obviously in Nazi-controlled Hungary, and he was Jewish. And his dad, I'm pretty sure this is right. His dad, his mum, and him and his sister, and his dad knew that the Nazis were coming, and so he sold or he gave George Soros. The dad gave George Soros to the chief of police and said, like, please look after my son, bring him up as your own. And George Soros' father, mother, and sister were taken away to the camps, right? The concentration camps. He never saw them again. And then George Soros was essentially brought up as the son of the head of police or whatever in Budapest or something. And his part of their job was to go around and round up all of the Jewish gold and art and all of the wealth, and he would take everything from his own brethren. And he was asked in that interview, I think you're referring to that interview, right? He was asked in that interview in 60 Minutes, how did you feel? That must have been difficult. And he said, no, it was actually the easiest thing ever, because I realized then that bad things happen whether you are involved or not. So you might as well do what you want, because if you're not doing the bad thing, someone else will be.
That's crazy. And at that point, it's not like he was like 7 years old. He didn't know any better. He was like 13. A lot of kids his age went to camps and got killed, and he was the one, going around and doing this, which is mad. So yeah, not a biggest fan of him. And all the money that here in the States he's putting towards like all the NGOs and all those, as you said, stoking the flames of politics or whatever. It's mad. Not the biggest fan of George Soros.
A lot of people don't know his real name. His real name's not George Soros. His name's Georgy Schwartz. His last name's Schwartz. He had one of the biggest hedge funds in London in the 1970s.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think they used to call it global macro investing, where they used to bet on currencies, and this is where you're talking about where they've destroyed like complete countries' currencies. But yeah, they were very successful in interest rates, national economies, and they made a lot of money. He was one of the richest men on the planet in the 1970s, 80s. I think Kanye West is more wealthy than him now, but yeah, he likes to.
This guy has untold billions. Like, he had billions, and like whatever the kind of the known number is, like he might say he's got 4 billion or whatever. He's got untold billions. He's got like Warren Buffett, Microsoft geezer, Bill Gates level money, where they're buying up the land, buying up the water supply, buying up anything that they can poison us with, controlling cloud seeding, all that, which we'll come to in a different episode, unless there's a video on it. But yeah, what's interesting about George Soros is, well, funnily enough, not to get this back onto football, but I didn't realize that George Soros was really good buddies with Joe Lewis, and that it was Joe Lewis and his team that were part of the group, allegedly, were part of the group that were betting against the pound when George Soros was doing it. So I've always I remember when I found that out, I was like, don't know if I should bring that up in the Tottenham community, because I've been sort of defending our owners for quite a while relative to other people.
Yeah. That was in
maybe he's a bit of a donut, isn't he?
That was in 1992. It was known as Black Wednesday. They were short in the pound.
Yeah.
Those people, when it comes to that much wealth and money, everything else goes out the window. So those people obviously work together. They're in the same circles. So the morality and everything else, it goes out the window. It's all about power, money, and everything else. Not even money, just the power and influence.
Exactly.
So no surprise there.
100%. not to change the subject, but he actually funds a lot of the activism that happens around the world. He was single-handedly funding a lot of the Antifa. I used to live in central Barcelona, and there's a big house that's there. It's like a mansion, and it was free to stay there. You'd get a credit card with no name on it, and it was all prepaid by his foundations. So he single-handedly has funded a lot of these movements over the last few years. I wouldn't be surprised if he had his hand in Black Lives Matter and all of this.
Oh no, he does. He definitely did. 100% he did. Yeah,
he's funding all those causes.
Even the protests that are happening right now in the UK and in you know all the universities around America.
No kings nonsense.
He like busloads these people in. They're professional protesters.
Yep.
You know that are getting whatever they're getting. They're a couple £100 a day or whatever it is to just go and be a nuisance. You know. But listen, he'll come up 1,000 times on this show, not necessarily just this show, but on the rest of the shows we do together.
I think he funds it through his Open Society Foundation. I think that's the name of the company that he funds it all through. And these people have subsections of activism that all funds through that. So it's looked at as philanthropy, but in fact, it's a form of like Marxism.
Have you guys heard of the Fabian Society?
Oh, mate, I was going to bring that up. It's funny you bring that up, actually. Yeah, every politician in the UK, the Fabian Society, control in some way, shape, or form over the last like 70 years. They believe they're a Marxist society that believe in revolution via
diplomacy,
evolution as opposed to revolution. Yeah.
So they don't want there to be wars in order to get their way. They like to. It's like you get your way through convincing people rather than conquest. And I was always like, I always thought these were just like an irrelevant kind of small think tank of people that was like, you know, sort of fizzling out in their relevancy. But turns out 74%, 75% of Keir Starmer's cabinet are members of the Fabian Society. Even the governor of the Bank of England is a Fabian, right? And Fabians are socialists, they're Marxist. And their fucking logo, the Fabian Society logo used to be literally a wolf wearing the carcass of a sheep. So like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? And then obviously when it came out, like that's a bit odd. Like why have we got people that are influencing politics in the 70s and 80s? Why have we got these people that are representing themselves as being cloak and dagger rather than legit? And so they changed their logo from the wolf in sheep's clothing to the turtle. But of course the turtle essentially means the same thing, right? Slow and steady wins the race. You'll get there eventually, just don't give up, sort of thing.
Exactly. The Fabian Society were formed in 1884. They're named after Quintus Fabius Maximus. He was a Roman general. And yeah, like I said, they control pretty much every politician in some direct or indirect way these days. Like you said, I think they formed Labour.
Yeah,
Labour.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Favorite channel is on YouTube is the Y-Files. Yeah, the Y-Files is fantastic.
Amazing.
I love the fish is brilliant. He's so funny.
Oh, so funny. Yeah, the fish.
He's so fun. I love that fish. I want to get my own fish. I'll get Bugsy Malone. I'll do an animated Bugsy Malone. She can be the crazy one. I'll just be the one that tells the story, you know. All right, let's have a look at the next video, shall we? Let's see where we're going. Let's do a lucky dip here. What's this one going to be? Where are we going to go? Let's go for...
Time for a hot take. Here's what everybody's missing about AI, okay? Everyone's obsessed with NVIDIA like it's the second coming of Jesus, but here's what they're missing. You can't run AI without electricity, and we're running out of the fucking powder faster.
Sorry, that's actually that's like more of a stock trading story rather than a conspiracy thing. Let's have a look at this one. Let's go for this one.
It's been 590.
Last time, let's go for this one.
Okay, so this is freaking me out, something chronic. Okay, so check this out. So I was just FaceTiming my wife on the computer because I never do it. I was just messing around. So I FaceTimed her on the computer, which I'm going to do now. And that's me coming through. Answer. Okay. So I'll turn that volume down. Mute. There we go. So this is what I see. That's what she sees, right? Now, I was messing around, I was talking to her, and I saw, was it desk view here, and attached to my phone. Okay, so share desk view, and now I can use my phone camera here. Okay, nothing weird yet. I started turning the camera here, and it's like still just facing forward, even though I'm turning the camera. So I was like, that's a bit weird. So I backed up. And as I backed up, I'm lifting my camera like this, and I have a bird's eye view on the desk. That is impossible. That's completely top down. And look at my phone. My phone here, I put it like this to see I'm not doing it. So this is here. I'm going to zoom in. Bird's eye view. Look, I'll move it around to show it is from here. That is impossible. That's a complete bird's eye view. And I'm literally pointing my camera up towards the ceiling. And so I thought maybe it's doing something off of this camera here. So I closed it off. You can see that's now shut me off from there. And this is just moving around from here. I'll move all the way the other side of the room. So I am literally pointing towards the ceiling. On the other side of the room, you can see, even if I did zoom in on the keyboard from here, you'd have that angle. Bird's eye view. It's a bird's eye view.
Fuck?
And what I did is I put a memory card behind that mouse, and I stood in a position you can't see it from this position, and I could see it. Right, someone explain to me how the hell this is happening, because it doesn't make sense.
What the hell is that? That looks legit. Is that some clever optics in like the super wide zoom camera or something?
It looked like something on the fan. Maybe there was a camera or something attached to the fan. The only thing that's got bird's eye vantage point of that would be something on the fan. With all the smart technology in the homes these days, it wouldn't surprise me if it's connected to...
So you reckon he's faking it? You think it's fake, right?
It's the internet, mate. You can't believe anything about anything. You know, something like that. It's just scroll on. You know, like, I don't know. But if you look back at the end of that frame there, you can see the fan. I don't know.
When he was doing this, it was moving. I mean, he's obviously if he's faking it,
mate. Then people do less shit for more for clicks, you know, than that. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah, it must be fake. Must be fake.
I don't know, mate. I'm very skeptical about a lot of stuff, mate. When I see stuff like that, I was watching it really hard. I was like, first brain thought was like, there's a camera in the ceiling or there's a camera above him or something. You know, it's not possible. It's like physically not possible.
Well, unless these cameras have got some super wide angle that can then grab the vision and then make a prediction. I don't know. You think it's fake? Yeah, just we should call it fake.
I think that's fake. I think that's for clicks. Yeah.
Soros, you did it again.
That bloody Soros! We would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
Fucking Fabian Society. We got your number.
All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we?
Let's have a look.
What are we doing here? Let's go for
the countries with the highest numbers of arrests for online comments in 2023. Hungary is at 10. Okay, you know what? Maybe it was like a death threat, right? You made a death threat on someone, you were arrested. Okay, Azerbaijan, which is probably not the most democratic country, is 13. Saudi Arabia, which is definitely not the most democratic country, is at 15. Egypt, 20. Vietnam, 45. The US with 340 million people, 50, right? So on and so forth. We get to the United Kingdom. Guess how many?
Tell us.
12,183 arrests for online comments in 2023. That is twice the amount of Belarus, a dictatorial authoritarian regime, at 6,205. More than China at 1,500. More than Russia. We love to say Russia. They're mean, they're bad. Putin's a dictator. Only 400 in Russia. Russia seems like a free speech heaven compared to the United Kingdom. This is what people don't fucking realize. This is ludicrous, and it's coming to your neighborhood real quick.
Hey, be careful, boys. I know.
Yeah, I need a VPN.
I have some things about.
Before I do episode 3, I better get myself a VPN.
You guys are finished. I'm sorry, but UK.
I think those numbers are slightly off. I think Russia is something like 3,000. But in the UK, the last 12 months, it was about 13,000 people who have been arrested for online comments and things they've said.
That's mad. What's his name? The comedian who was arrested in the airport? The comedian, the British comic, he made some tweets about like transgender issues.
Who was it?
He's a famous comedian. He was arrested for tweets.
Graham Linehan, the Irish comedy writer. He was arrested 5 police officers as he got off a plane at Heathrow International on suspicion of inciting violence against transgender people online.
It's so crazy.
Fucking
Like
hell.
UK of all the places, it's insane. And like the scary thing is what happens in UK, usually it makes its way over to the US. But one thing that separates us from you guys is we here have guns. So it might not be as simple. That's that's what the founding fathers were afraid of. But
You know
man,
the worst part about it is, mate, right? Is that
when I see the news,
I'll
I'm not sure if it's real or not. It's crazy.
I voted for Brexit, right? I did vote for Brexit. Probably lied to for sure. Probably a mistake because
at my detriment living here.
Apologies. I didn't know. Listen, I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, right? But like now because of that, I've like my access to leaving the UK is basically. I typed into ChatGPT as a 41-year-old YouTuber, right? Where can I piss off to and be able to live? And they basically gave me like Malta, Gibraltar, Malta, and maybe you'd be able to get in somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere like Singapore if you're lucky, but there's not a lot of options. Not a lot of options, you know.
It's horrible, mate. Like I've lived in Spain since 2007. You used to be able to come and go. You could walk in anywhere, get a job any day you like. You know, if it was free. People used to send me out care packages from England with my Bisto and all that kind of stuff. You know, now Matt Letitia, the footballer, he sent me out some CBD gummies off one of his Twitter accounts about 3 months ago. Yeah. No, I like all that stuff, all the CBD stuff. Anyway, he sent me one out, and the customs stopped it, and the inspection charge was £60. The delivery was an additional £20, and basically my parcel, even though it was a free gift, was held to ransom. So I had to like return it back to Supreme CBD in the UK in Liverpool and say, sorry, I can't accept it, because it was basically 150 quid to receive a free gift. Mental.
How are they charging you because they want to inspect? That's outrageous.
It's just where as they've gone through the Brexit process, they've just literally kicked the UK out of everything. So everything's just held to ransom. But yeah, when anything you send here to Spain from the UK now, whereas remember back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there used to be a big UK community here. There used to be all this coming and going of like post, you know, between the two countries. You can't send anything. You can't buy anything online from the UK and have it delivered here. It's honestly, the way they've gone about it the last 3 years is criminal, you know. Now everyone needs a work permit to work here if you're British, you know, like, yeah, the Brexit was a really bad idea. I woke up one day, I think it's like, what was it, 2020, 2021? I was like, no, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. They spent all these years knocking down the borders. And I woke up one day and it's like, oh yeah, Brexit's happened. I'm like, fuck.
I don't know, man. But on the other hand, if you look at Brexit, it's like UK and Germany is paying for every other European country and maybe France. So if I lived in like UK or Germany, it's like, hey, why am I paying for every other European country, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and that's the issue with America too. We're sending money to everybody. Like, why?
I remember in 2008, right, when the financial crisis hit. I remember like 3 years later, at the height of the GFC, I remember like Greece going into bankruptcy.
Yep.
And
Spain, I believe.
Like Europe, Germany, yeah, it wasn't just Greece, it was Spain, Italy had problems, Portugal had problems, but everyone was like borrowing money from everybody else to pay off their debts and then paying their, you know, it was just getting crazy. And I remember getting pissed off because I was like, they were raising the age of retirement in the UK to like 65 or whatever for men at the time. I think it's now set, it's going to be 73 by the time. I don't think they will retire any. By the time we get there, you won't retire.
Pensions won't be there. By the time we get to 65, mate, the pension pots won't be there. All the things you've worked your whole life for, I don't think they'll be there. I think they're gone already.
Yeah, I agree. But I remember there was like riots in Greece because of their version of austerity, and they were pissed off that they had to retire at 55 rather than 52 or something. And I'm like, wait, what? What are we doing? My taxes are going to pay for your debts, but you can't be fucked to work an extra couple of years when you've already got 10 years like more retirement than we have. It was those sorts of things that made me vote for Brexit like a few years later. But actually, the whole fucking thing's stupid anyway. It's all one big giant corrupt bullshit.
I think they've orchestrated all of that so that they can separate the currencies. So the pound sterling, the sovereign pound, can be separated from the euro. And what they'll do is, I think they're going to crash the euro or crash the pound. more than likely they're going to crash the euro, and the pound will remain strong, obviously, as it's the financial capital of the world, you know. So I think that purposely, the main reason behind Brexit, I think, was to do with a currency war that is probably around the corner at some point.
Oh, for sure.
But also, like, if I live in a country, I don't want somebody like in Brussels or wherever else is telling me kind of what to do, right? Like, I mean, that's the whole idea of a European Union. It's a good idea, I guess, when it comes to trade and everything else. But then you're losing your identity as a country. So now with
We haven't got
migrants
any
and everything
identity
else,
back.
and somebody in Brussels is telling you how to behave as a country, which is mad to me. Again, maybe as an American and as somebody who escaped, the Soviet Union, I have this like super kind of, the mentality where like I don't want anybody telling me what to do and what to think. But this whole like every country in the union being controlled by kind of a group of people like in Brussels or where else who have no concept about like the history, or like it's crazy to me. So economically, maybe it's could have made sense, but as far as like socially, and now you see the fabric of society is breaking down because a lot of those choices and the conspiracy those were intentional, like that was the plan of the few people to make this happen. So I don't know.
I hear you, but that's when we left the European Union, or when we did Brexit, we thought we were going to get our independence back to be able to create our own laws, but that's turned out to be a load of bollocks. We haven't changed it. Nothing's changed in that regard. By the way, guys, last time me and Nikos did it, we got 21 viewers, the same concurrent viewers. We've doubled that. We're at 42 right now. Big up to the chat. We appreciate it. Every session is going to get a little bit better, hopefully. Please do smash the like, smash the subscribe as well whilst we're there, people. We'll see where we're going to take this bad boy before we get shut down and arrested.
The value is in the playback. The value is when people watch this when they're sitting alone on a Saturday night and they've got an hour spare and they find this and go, oh, okay, let's talk about some of this stuff. That's the way the value is. Appreciate the people logging in, though.
100%, 100%. Let's spin the wheel again. Where do we go?
Here's another one for my comic book fans. Y'all know the story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? I did an old video about this. Y'all know that there are reptilians eating pizza underground. Now, if you know the code word for pizza is for... You know what I mean? So the story's about reptilians eating pizza underground. Now their enemies are Bebop and Rocksteady. What group of people came up with that genre of music? And look at the way they dress.
What?
And notice that this group of people is trying to stop these reptilians who eat pizza underground. But they made them goofballs, right? Here's another one. Shredder was training so that they could defend themselves against these reptilians who eat pizza underground. So who really is the bad guy? But hear this one out. Those reptilians who eat pizza underground, their best friend was the media. Their best friend was April O'Neil. And who did April O'Neil work for?
True.
Meaning the reptilians who eat pizza underground always have the news coverage to work in their favor. So you got to ask yourself, who really is the good guy and who really is the bad guy? Notice how they put everything in reverse.
What we saying? That's the wild one.
One of the things I always thought about that is the names of the turtles. They're Greek. So I think one of the keys to this, I think everything he said there's right. I think there is a sort of code, but I think they're also telling
Italian,
you
not Greek,
Greek,
right?
Italian.
Greek, no?
No, they're the names of the
Donatello.
Renaissance artists.
Yeah, they're Renaissance artists.
Yeah.
Raphael,
So
Donatello,
I think they're telling you
Leonardo.
how long this has gone back to and who maybe the
Roman
some
Empire.
of the honourable members are.
Roman Empire was into like eating children and weird stuff with children and all. You know, don't worry about that. Any of those ancient civilizations that were into the polytheism, they were all into the same shit, man. They were all sacrificing children. They were all into like transgenderism, homophobia. They were like weird stuff with children. Like all that polytheism. Whether you were like Mesopotamian, Babylonian, the Aztecs, the Greeks, the Italian, like the Romans, the Egyptians, they were all into the same shit, just different names for the same thing. You know, wow.
It was sacrificed to the gods. It was a sacrifice. Your children were sacrificed to the gods, but in many different ancient cultures, just different ways of presenting it, different ways of saying it. We're living in the current one where it's kind of like not so well known. It's kind of a bit more secretive.
I always wondered why it was children, though. Right? And I looked at this. I actually asked ChatGPT this. Innocence and purity, and then they were doing it out of reciprocity. This idea that if we give you, we show you our generosity for you, then you'll bring us the rain, or you'll bring us the sun, or whatever we need for our fertility, right? But
yeah. Also, it's funny in the Bible, right? Like I think Abraham was asked to sacrifice his firstborn son. So that also, it's kind of your first child. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the gods, all of them. Yeah, I don't think it's ever gone away. I think it's just gone underground a little bit.
Exactly. I think it's more cloaked these days, but I think it's like the ultimate sacrifice. As a father, like it's the ultimate sacrifice. It's like your ultimate pledge of allegiance.
Yep.
That's what it represents.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. The chat's in. I can see all this is all the people from the Spurs Talk Show chat. Big up to you all. Big up to you.
That shows you, Sean, your audience.
Yeah, the audience is following us around to do some. We're into some weird stuff over it. Let's find out what the next one is. Let's go for another one, shall we? Let's choose.
The countries with the highest numbers of.
Let me get rid of that one. Delete that. One time only. Well, let's look at what this one is.
Elon Musk producing advanced phones. Everything that Elon Musk does is straight off the script of the global agenda. This is one guy supposed to run SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, driverless cars, putting satellites in low orbit, robots, producing the micro homes. He takes over Twitter. I stand for free speech. You're not against shadow banning though, Elon, are you? No. He has a built-in excuse to allow him to continue to be the free speech hero of the mainstream alternative media while censoring people.
I just don't know how you manage your time. I don't understand it.
I think people don't totally understand what I do with my time.
Maybe Elon Musk isn't having all the ideas. He's fronting up for another force in the background to bring through the ideas, the technology essential to this Great Reset, and implement them.
I don't know. Nico, we might disagree on this one. I have a feeling.
No, David Icke was right on that one as well. The goal here is ultimate digital slavery. And as a South African American, he's just been tasked with handing back some of the technology that will enslave humanity. Some of his biggest companies, SpaceX, I don't believe that he's gone outside the firmament. So first of all, he's taking taxpayer money, first of all. So he's keeping up the charade of, the heat away from NASA about space. Also as well, the electric vehicle is an enslavement vehicle so that you can't drive wherever you want to drive. At some point, they're going to invoke the climate restrictions. And with having electric vehicles with computers, Elon Musk's company in particular was one of the first companies to revolutionize that technology. He'll probably be the person or the company that will probably be the most popular electric vehicle on the planet. His phone, what will eventually come out, which will be the X phone. I said this about 5 years ago to somebody, but the X phone will basically be the digital blockchain phone. So all your digital IDs, all your money will be locked on a phone, and it'll be credit scored based on your climate footprint. So his job is basically to give back technology that's been here before. But yeah, unfortunately, Elon Musk is a shill and he's a Jesuit. So unfortunately, I can't believe anything these guys say.
I don't know. Full disclaimer, I'm a huge Elon stan. I own 2 Teslas. I respect genius. He single-handedly changed 4 industries, right? The electric car industry. Before Tesla, nobody cared about electric cars. He single-handedly built the electric car industry before it was the Priuses, who I was embarrassed to get into, right? The SpaceX, yes, taxpayer money. However, every rocket launch is like 10 or like 50 times cheaper than it was before. The reusable rockets are
So you
saving a ton of
believe
money.
in space then, Eugene? Yeah.
I mean, well, do I believe in space? That's funny. Like definition of space? No. I mean, okay, that's a different, of course.
It's a conspiracy, mate. There's no limits to the conspiracies that we go into here.
But
You know,
that's a funny question. It's like, do you believe in space? Like the definition of no. I mean, I believe in space. I believe in
outer
rockets.
space.
Yeah.
So you don't think the Earth is flat?
Come on. Like what? I mean, conspiracy. You need to at least have a certain baseline of okay. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Hey.
But
There's no judgments here. There's no judgments here.
hey,
It's not-
reptilians
I'm
is
judging.
one thing, but flat Earth is like reptilians. I'm all good. I'm on board. Pizza, whatever. Give me pizza. But flat Earth, it just it makes us look bad. But yeah, so I like whatever Musk is doing, it would have been done anyways, just 50 years later, slower. I
You're sounding a
respect.
little bit like a certain George Soros there, mate.
Yeah, but
It's going to happen
Soros,
anyway. Might as well have been me, you know.
But what Soros is doing, like Musk is actually like he is building new technology. Like I respect the genius, I respect the hard work. Whether it's gonna end up in a place where we don't want it to end up, it probably will. But the humanity is going there anyways.
No, I hear you.
With or
I
without
hear you.
Musk, we're gonna end up in having computer chips in our brains. Like that's happening. So
Yeah, but do you
but
trust?
I respect him as a
Would you
person.
get a computer chip put in your brain?
Well, me personally, no, but eventually, like let's say when you have a kid, right? All the other kids have brain implants that makes them 100 times smarter.
But
Even
also
though
100 times more obedient. Also 100 times.
right,
Control it.
exactly. But what are you
Control
going to tell your kid if he's like, hey, dad, I want to be a lawyer, but I cannot because everybody else is smarter than me? So eventually, you're going to have to make those choices, right? Eventually, even now, you can look at the embryos, right? And pick and choose which embryos you want to be your kids, right? Like which embryo has
Yeah, but
no
do you
genetic
trust?
defect.
Coming from someone that's had their life turned upside down by being hacked and having all of my businesses, all of my hard work corrupted and compromised. If I had a child, I wouldn't. I don't want a child. I don't want to bring up a kid in this world. This world personally. I don't like the way it's going. The Book of Revelations for me basically put out like a template, a roadmap, and we're walking ourselves right off that lemmings, like that cliff, like lemmings. I wouldn't want to bring up a child in this world unless you happen to have obscene resources where you can you can get your first dibs on all the cool stuff that's coming and basically protect yourself in some castle somewhere. But if they said to me, do you want to stay dumb but free, or do you want to be super smart but with your brain? And then you run the risk. You don't know what these motherfuckers can do. They might be able to hack your brain, like literally hack your brain, so it's completely like disturbed. That to me is like that's an entry point to your soul. Like I don't want it. I would never do that, and I would never let my kids do it either if I had them. Ever.
Exactly. There was nothing in the Bible about microchips in the brain and the control that would give somebody else outside of free will is just unfathomable,
I agree.
to be honest.
But ultimately, right, if in the future it's going to be like haves, right, and have-nots, and whoever can afford to get those implants is going to be 1,000 times smarter, right? And then it's all about the resources. And again, I'm going to steal it from Rogan, but when he's saying we're like a caterpillar, right? We're building a new type of human, right? It's going to be like human and AI combined. So I think it's just a matter of time. I bet you in 100 years, everybody's going to be chipped. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what they do in every little thing, right? Like they start they'd like you to get from A to B. They used to be able to just force you to go there because if you were better with the sword or had a more powerful weapon, then you could force your way. But these days, it's easier to do it via consent. So you were like the problem, reaction, solution, right? It depends on what the problem or what the solution wants to be to shape the problem. Like at the moment, what they're doing is making out like the person who lives across the street or across the sea who looks different to you, he's the problem. But in reality, in my opinion, it's the people at the top that are creating those problems in the first place, then controlling the media, right? To get the donuts who can't think for themselves to fall in line, and then they offer the solution. Like the digital ID apparently is the solution to all of the problems that we face in the UK, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But in the future, it won't be about problems like that. It will be that your life will be infinitely more convenient if you just get the mark of the beast.
It's the W. you have a guy who said you will own nothing and be happy, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually like it's on the record.
Yeah.
Right now, you have the option to resist. When you have a microchip in your brain, you won't have an option to resist. So there's no rebellion. There's no form of free will.
100%. Yeah, like I don't look at China. I don't look at immigration. I don't look at anybody as the problem, because I think most of us have got the same problems, right? And the problems are the people who are into the dark forces, into the dark energy, and communicate with things that we don't understand.
Yeah. Elon Musk is the devil's champion. He's doing a good job at it. Good luck to him.
I don't know.
I know.
This could turn into like a Matisse Tell debate.
I rate him.
No, I don't. I've been biting my tongue in conversations like this. I just think
it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's good to have these little.
Hey, chip me up. Chip me up,
baby. No, not at all. We're new acquaintances. I don't. It's a second date kind of thing. But just like. You have to understand it's about control. Every single thing that you've just said is good about what you're doing with Tesla and microchips is a form of controlling you. What if they bring in a carbon footprint and it says your Tesla can only drive 15 miles today? You can't do that in a petrol car.
Oh, and by the way, sorry, Nikos. By the way, I'm not arguing or saying he's a good person or he's an altruist. Every person who owns a company, whether it's Bezos or Gates or whoever, there's an agenda, it's influence. All I'm saying is I respect his genius and the way he does things. I'm not arguing that he's doing it for the good of the humanity and this whole thing. Like, I do like his whole thing about Mars and like all that. It's all good. I'm just saying I just respect his execution. He's executing where millions of others in the past failed.
100%.
So I respect that part of it. Not that he's doing it for noble causes.
I just see a shit salesman. When I see Elon Musk and the way he goes about his business, I just see a shit salesman. That's what I see.
A shit salesman?
That's exactly what I said. Elon Musk is a shit salesman. They employed somebody to push this on people, and people have lapped it up. People haven't. But I've been around salesmen my whole life, and I see a shit salesman.
He's not a shit salesman. He's a very fucking good salesman.
Honestly, hand on your heart, do you genuinely believe the American government would let some South African be the richest man in the country, bar the bankers? Not a chance in the world, mate. Not a million chance.
Well, listen, I 100%. I can get on board with both of your arguments. Like, I think Eugene is saying, I just respect the business. I respect the intellect. He's clearly a very fucking smart guy.
He didn't create those businesses. He's the front. He's the front of a company house. He's a name on a document.
Tesla, he did. Look, there was an idea before him. It's everybody. Every person has an idea. Like, anybody can build a prototype of a car, right? But before him, there was no company. Imagine building a company to compete with Ford, Toyota. It's impossible. And he did it, and he made it the #1 company in the world. Which the execution piece, like, you don't just become nobody can do it.
And his team, right? Let's just
of course. But
he's not a one-man game, right? He's obviously got people behind him that are invisible that are supporting him, and he's got people that are underneath him that are visible, but are the engineers that are probably doing three-quarters of the work. There's no way there's enough hours in the day for someone to be able to think about all those things all the time. He's definitely got some steers. Whether his intentions are malignant, like maleficent, what's the word? Malevolent, or whether they're benevolent, or whatever the other one is, good or bad. Basically, to simplify it.
What was his first business? Do you know what Elon Musk's first real
PayPal.
XPay was his first business at 20-something years old. He was a developer, a programmer. He was at some point hired to be the face of this, and then he sold it off to big finance, and he walked away from XPay. Eventually, the ultimate goal is for cryptocurrency to play a big role in digital finance, and he will be again
central banking digital finance. That's the thing. That's the Bitcoin thing, because I'm a little bit kind of like, again, corrupted by this, because I made quite a lot of money back in 2017 off of Bitcoin and off of those trades and things. So I fell in love with the concept of it, but I've subsequently come to learn that what the real game plan is there. Like, again, you get the carrot out first, right? You reel some people in. The people that are probably the ones that you would be the most resistant to this sort of stuff in the future, you get them on board. Then everybody else comes along later, and then eventually you dump it and twist it into CBDCs, and then everyone's fucked because your money is no longer money; it's a token, and they tell you what you can and can't buy.
The thing about digital currency originally, the first concept of Bitcoin was actually favoured by criminals and black market. So the first people that stepped over the line using crypto in particular were people that were trying to keep their money away from governments. And this is the first people on the top of their list. So eventually,
but the biggest drug dealers in the world are the governments, right? The CIA, the pharma companies, like we all know that, right?
Everything you can think of, mate. Everything you can think of. But yeah, if you want to make a list of all the people that you should be watching, you know, give them a currency where apparently it's a way that can't be tracked by their bank. It doesn't go through anti-money laundering checks and stuff like that. And yeah, you'll find every scumbag on the planet will want to use it. And that's what they do.
That's opposite of digital IDs. Again, concept like the Silk Road guy, right? He went to prison, he was pardoned. I mean, there's a lot of things about, but the concept, like, I'm on board. I mean, especially, I mean, it goes into economy, but if Fed is printing money, you know, to finance all the wars, everything else, I mean, the inflation is crazy and the digital IDs and the government is tracking you. It's like the truckers in Canada, right? A while back, their accounts were closed, like you couldn't use GoFundMe. It's crazy. A government can just shut you off. And the Bitcoin, for example,
what
in
happened to that,
countries
right?
like Africa,
everyone just sort of went, oh, that's fucking that's outrageous, right? Everyone around the world that was like part of us, like part of our kind of crew of people that think the way we do, like, you know, fuck the government sort of thing. Everyone was outraged by that. And then 2 weeks later, something else happens and everyone's forgotten about those.
Exactly.
Those
But also like in countries like Africa or not country, but like in African countries or like countries where the currency is either unstable or there's big issues, like, you know, a lot of the organizations that volunteer, they can't just walk around with a bag of cash. And like Bitcoin is the only way to actually make payments and do those things. So of course it's used by some shady people to hide money, which is cool. However, I like the concept of blockchain, of crypto being it could be the last thing that's independent from the government overreach. Hopefully.
Yeah, 100%. Should we move on to another video, guys?
Next one.
Let's go for another one, shall we? What's this one?
Lizard.
The Wallace Line.
The Wallace Line.
So you have Indonesia and you have Australia, right? You have Bali, you have the Philippines, and then there's Australia. There's an invisible line between these islands that for some reason animals cannot cross. Marine biologists have no idea. Biologists have no clue why. There's only like a 20-mile difference. On this side, on the Asia side, you have tigers, elephants, monkeys, all these types of things. But then 20 miles over, you have animals that
completely different species.
Are completely different species. You have marsupials like kangaroos and koalas, and then you have dingoes.
They've never observed those animals crossing over.
Even the fish will not cross over this invisible line within the ocean. Birds will not fly to the other side. It's just a border that animals instinctively just don't cross for some unknown reason.
I wonder if it's like a gravitational force or something.
But it'd have to be something we can't measure.
Yeah.
Because you know they're trying to figure that out. They'd find gravity or energy.
And why animals are the only things that don't cross.
Yeah, I think I've looked into that one before. I'm pretty sure that the fish do cross the line and the birds do cross the line, but there is like a true historical trend because the line is basically through water. Then obviously land mammals are going to find it difficult to cross.
Makes sense.
I'm not sure it's quite the big deal that these guys are making out of it, but there is a line. 100% it does split, and then historically the creatures that are on land on one side are not found on the other, but that just might be the way that the continent split at some point in the past, long enough ago, where there was no division, and then after that, you know, I'm pretty sure like you'll be able to catch a lobster on this side of the line and that side of the line, like you know. Yeah. I don't know that much. If anyone's got any take on it, we can talk about it, or we can just move on to the next video.
Nah, I know there's oceans out there where the water doesn't mix. I know there's particularly parts of the oceans where the waters don't mix. But
yeah, I've seen that before, where there's like a black line on one side and a like blue water on the other and stuff. Yeah, it's definitely something.
Yeah, I mean, tigers. Yeah, tigers not swimming from one island to another doesn't surprise me. So,
although I do remember that Ricky Gervais amazing joke when he goes, elephants have been caught swimming 3 miles offshore. And he's like, listen to the phrases there. They've been caught swimming. Like, what are you doing here? Sorry, got me. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do the next one, shall we? Let's go and have a look at this geezer.
I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's analysis of the news. Albert Pike was one of the most colorful characters in American history. Pike was said to be a genius, able to read and write 16 languages. He was one of the founding fathers of the head of the ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, being the Grand Commander of North America Freemasonry from 1859, and retained that position until his death in 1891. Now, I tell you all of this because it is said that he received a vision from his mentor, Mr. Lucifer, I guess. And he said that he received this information from a book written by Cardinal Caro Rodriguez in Santiago, Chile. And in this book, in 1925, it is said that he wrote a letter to a man named Mazzini, in which he described this dream. And in the dream, he predicted 3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike, the First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Then he dreams that there must be, he is given in this visionary dream, a second world war. He says, quote, the second world war must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Well, there are some who may argue that the terms Nazism and Zionism were not known in 1871. Then he has this vision, in this vision, not only 1 world war and 2 world wars, but here comes the Third World War. He says, and I quote, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Yeah, that's what he says. The war, this was 1925. Please understand that. He's now thinking about this Third World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says.
Yeah, this geezer in that book, he wrote that book, Morals and Dogma, didn't he?
That's right.
But I think this guy was like controversial on a load. He was a Freemason, 33rd degree Scottish Rite. He was big in the into a cult, apparently. Big into like I think he wasn't he part of the, didn't he write or didn't he talk about the Luciferian doctrine, Nikos?
I'm not sure. I just know he was Sovereign Grand Commander in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which is like they got smaller steps up on the Scottish Rite than they have on the normal route. So he was like fast tracked, and he was one of the top of the food chains. But yeah, they've planned 3 world wars from the beginning. So there's this is one of the reasons probably why they're splashing Muslims all over the European continent. You know.
Fucking hell.
I didn't say anything.
Stay clear of that one. Eugene, do you know anything about Albert Pike?
I do not. But although I gotta say, the titles of like the Grand Commander, like those are amazing. Whoever came up with the titles, like the Grand Commander or Commander, like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. They sat down and really thought about that in a bathroom with nothing. With a feather pen, writing down names. Sovereign Grand Commander. That's what I'm going to call myself.
I'm gonna look it up. I mean, it sounds. I'm not gonna like.
I'm pretty sure this guy did write that book to this. He wrote a letter to someone called like the Italian guy. I think his name is Mazzini or something. And in that book, Morals and Dogma, he wrote about Masonic rituals, symbology, Kabbalah, Gnosticism, Hermetism, I think it's called, or Hermeticism. All of these things that have got like proper ancient roots into like the occult, basically, right? And they know shit that we don't know, and they protect that wisdom. That's the same idea with the Freemasons as well. That the people at the top, they're some of the people that they protect that story. That not everybody's worth having that access to the information. Whether that's about Luciferianism, you know, the light bearer.
By the way, sorry, like quick thing, as Matt said in the comments, the World War III thing with the nukes, like I don't think we're gonna see like a ground war like the World War II, right? Either it's gonna be annihilation of every country, right? Like China versus US. Like I just don't see the ground war. And then if you look at like Israel and like Islamic countries, if you look how things are being split up, you got the Saudis, right? Turkey, Saudi, Egypt, they have a relationship Israel, right? Versus Iran, it's like Sunni and Shia, right? So the lines are split, but it's not as like, okay, Israel versus the Arab world, right? Israel and Saudis are, I wouldn't say tight, but have a relationship. Israel and Egypt have a relationship, and Turkey. But then all of them hate Iran. So I think it's more complex than just saying Arab world and Israel. Although, yeah, something might happen, but I just don't see like a World War III type. It's going to be
do you believe in nuclear weapons, Eugene?
What's that?
Do you believe in nuclear weapons? We've got some people in the chat saying this show is wild. How can you plan for World War III? It's literally one bomb, so it's all over. Then you got someone else here, Music Realm, saying nuclear bombs are fake.
That's crazy.
I love
believe in space and nuclear wars. Those two.
It's sensational. You know, we love to see it.
It's
I
science
mean,
fiction.
if you look at the Japan, I mean, come on, like we know what happened to Japan after, to end the World War II. I mean, that's not fake.
No, there was definitely an explosion there, but it doesn't necessarily mean to be a nuclear weapon. It would be kind of stupid if we all lived under a firmament and they started letting off weapons that would kill everybody, wouldn't it?
I mean, but we know the radiation and we know like what happened.
We know what
nations
paid scientific people have said, but I've never seen a nuclear bomb. You've never seen a nuclear bomb.
I mean, they're tests. No, I mean, so they're like in Russia, for example, or even in the US, when they run the nuke tests in the desert and they blow up nukes in the atmosphere, like scientists, like they're measuring the levels of radiation. I know like in Russia, they've done it a bunch of times, like underwater, in the atmosphere. In the US, they've done it in the desert. So there's a lot of data, not by like the army, but just in general.
There's missiles that exist. There's missiles that exist that cause huge explosions and create massive clouds and stuff. I don't dispute that. But what I'm saying is a particular weapon that would destroy a particular country, I don't think anything like that would exist. It wouldn't make any sense for them to create it in the first place. I think
what I'm saying is, like, it could be, I mean, there's a difference between, let's say, like a huge explosion, like the bunker busters, right, that we have, the US, they're like the biggest bombs. But then the atomic bomb, like, it's a different thing, right? They measure like the radiation, there are things to kind of separate or to identify like the H bomb or a nuclear bomb, right? Like the decay. I'm not a scientist, obviously.
I've got to be honest though, right? I personally, it doesn't really matter, right? Call it a nuclear bomb, call it a hydrogen bomb, call it whatever the fuck, an atomic bomb. If there's a bomb out there that's capable of killing, like, knocking down a city in one go, it's a big fucking bomb. What I would say is that I've seen those like video clips of the 1960s test bombs, the test things. They are fake as fuck. They are so fake. Like they got a camera sitting there. They got a camera sitting there recording a house, and then the bomb goes around, and then like the wind blows, and then the house is gone. There's a car that materializes halfway through the clip. But how does the camera survive? Like those things are fake as fuck. And I can believe that some things happen that are not capable of being captured on film. But in order to present the fear of those things, they need to show it on film, and therefore they fake it. It doesn't mean that the thing doesn't exist. It just means that what we saw wasn't real. Two things can be true at the same time. The videos of those nuclear weapons are fake as fuck. 100%.
Fear is the best form of control, and like they were really poor at, making videos back in the World War II, World War III. There's very little evidence that anything actually happened there. Like it doesn't make any sense. You've got to just be a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more skeptical about it, and think, why would they want to create something like that? Even if they could, I don't think there's a weapon out there that could destroy a country. I don't think there's a weapon out there that could destroy a state. In America, I don't think
there's definitely bombs that could knock out a city.
Maybe I've been to Japan, right? Maybe bomb in the city and stuff, but just in the grand scheme of things, when I look at Hiroshima videos and the atom bomb videos and the nuclear testing in America in the 50s and 60s, it just, like you said, it looks fake as fuck, like just.
I mean,
to me, I think it'd be a bit
there.
more convinced than just
I'm
some
not
people
sure.
who get paid.
The moon landing might have happened, but the video that we
The video could be fake. Yep.
the videos that we saw are fake. I don't know whether the moon landing happened. I don't know. I'm not married to any particular theory or model. Like, if someone wants to prove to me that the Earth is flat and they've got enough like gumption about them, I don't care. I'll get on board it if it looks good. It's just I'm open minded to a fault. I'm that open minded. But when I see things like the footage of the moon landing, I'm like, nah, that ain't real. It might have happened, but what I'm seeing is not how it happened, or that's not evidence of it to me. Right? That's how I'll. And the same thing with the nuclear bomb thing. I'm sure nukes exist. I'm sure they've gone off. I'm sure there's been tests. I'm sure that stuff is capable and possible. I believe all that. But the footage from the 60s of the tests, that's just like a dollhouse that's been amplified up to make it look like it's very big.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. The person in your comments who said nukes are fake, I agree with that person, whoever that was.
Oh, let's move on. See if we can find one, because you two seem to be looking at this from the different. It's amazing. Even within the
I hate to be the contrarian. I hate to be that guy, you know, but just unfortunately, sorry, Eugene. I just can't get on board with that stuff,
awesome.
mate. I'm so skeptical about that stuff, mate. I'm so sorry.
No, that's amazing. Actually, that's fun. I thought I was wild, but this is even crazier, which is amazing. That's
Eugene,
why I enjoy those conversations.
You're relatively like Levy-in compared to Nick, like, you know.
Yeah, to Nikos, exactly. It's all right, but that's why I love it. It's an amazing conversation. That's the point of it.
Let's move on to the next one. Let's see where we're going with this one then. Let's have a look, see at let's see what Joe wrote.
But my friend Jesse Michaels just went down to Peru, and they did all these medical scans of these tridactyl mummies. They're not fake. Whatever the fuck these things are in the fetal position, they have all the ligaments and tendons. Their heads are huge. They look like a fucking alien. They have 3 fingers and 3 toes, and there's a few of them. They're like 3 feet tall. And these things are 1,700 years old, and they look exactly like all these things that people claim to see when they get abducted by aliens. Not only that, they're in Peru, which is the home of many of these monolithic, huge megastructure sites like Machu Picchu and
a lot of the legends come out of there too.
The Nazca lines, like immense artwork that you could only see from the sky. Like they have ancient artwork depicting 3-fingered, 3-toed beings with big heads and big eyes.
Yeah.
What the fuck is all this stuff? What is all this stuff? It's gotta be something.
Bro, remember in our group chat, Sean, I posted about a couple months ago, I posted that I was looking into like a 3-toed mummies, and you said there was a bad wank. Remember? A couple months ago. After I saw this,
what did I say
in a group chat? Yeah. Remember, I said I'm looking into like the 3.
I don't remember you saying that.
That was it.
I would say, yeah.
That was that. So I saw the Jesse. So Jesse Michaels, he has an amazing channel about the UFOs, everything else. So I saw that doc. I did this whole deep dive on the 3-toed, 3 whatever. Insane, amazing.
So what are we saying? So the greys, right? The things that we think of, what we call as the greys, those things are mummified in Peru. Is that the story?
No, those are different. No, those are not the greys. So basically, they had some experts that did the MRIs. So the theory is these are not like aliens. They have the anatomy of humans. They just have some differences as far as like the 3 toes, the elongated like head. The only thing that's crazy, they had some like metal implant. It's sort of a metal. It's some like super rare like combinations of metals, and they have an implant in their heads. That's the only thing that's unexplained. As far as everything else, they're like a humanoid. What's that?
How old are they?
Like thousands of years, like super old. So it's like, I mean, personally, I would have thought they're just, you know how like on the island of Florence, they found hobbits. So I think it's
I'll give it a go, to be honest. I have a crack, I don't care.
There could be just, you know, like a line of...
It might make your cock look a little bit bigger, you know, when they
get back. Exactly. There you go. But they're probably like some, you know, a human tree, or, you know, however, that implant in their heads, that's a wild part. Like nobody knows what that is. It's like a super rare, like metals that come, like alloys that come from meteorites. They're not like found on Earth, or like they're super, super rare. and like all of them in the back of their head, they had this implant, which that's unexplained. Everything else, they did the MRIs, they did all the scans. They're like real biological
They're
beings.
3 foot tall. Just because they've got the same heart and liver and all that stuff, that doesn't mean that they're from here, does it? Like in a world, I know Nick doesn't believe in space, so he might struggle to have.
And there was a fetus in one. One was pregnant.
Okay, but if there's another planet out there in a world where space is real, the universe is real, the whatever, the stars are real, all that stuff. If you go over to the Sagittarius, star system, and there's a planet there that's within the habitable zone, and they've managed to, they're a million years more advanced, and they've managed to figure out how to travel through space, they could have exactly the same bodywork, right?
But the thing is, they're not there. They're already here. They've been. I got my sources.
That's a different conversation.
I'm an alien expert. Sorry.
Are the aliens from somewhere else, or have they always been here?
This is why I step in. The Hopi people referred to the Anus as the ant people. You're familiar with the term Anunnaki?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Let's go, Nikos. Let's do it.
So let's do it. So the Anunnaki, or the ant people in Hopi Indians, were here to save humanity at a time of cataclysm. This is where a lot of these underground tunnels come from, a lot of the, crazy, unexplainable stuff under the earth. So I think a lot of this stuff is related to them, whether they be the same race or they be the same peoples or whatever they're called. But yeah, I think these people live under the earth. I think they've been here the whole time, and I think it's related to what is referred to as the Anus, the Anunnakis, and they live under the earth. They live under the ground.
And there are two types of leaders. I mean, you can say they're aliens, but then there are also some could be like future humans, right? And the way like the evolution, let's say like, we are not going to need to use our muscles in the future, whatever, right? So we're going to change biologically. So another theory is there's like the tall whites, as they call them, right? They're like us from the future. So they're different types of aliens, but personally, I believe a lot of them, they've been here forever. Right, because every civilization from like the dawn of time, they have their myths about, or like the Bible is full of stories. Like Sir Francis of Assisi, right? The stigmatas come from the radiation from
St. George
the
beat the dragon.
What's that?
St. George when he fought the dragon.
Well, I don't know about the dragon, but I'm saying like a lot of the myths, whether it's in the Bible, Quran, in like,
but
the Indian
I say
text.
the dragon is like a representation of some sort of creature that is lizard-esque, right? The reptilians. Now, I 100%. Excuse me. I'll go out on a limb here. I know that we've got we've got people like Eugene that's mad into the aliens, Nikos that's mad into sort of more
everything, just everything. I mean, everything.
We'll go proper deep in the rabbit hole with Nikos's stuff. I 100% believe that every single culture, race, civilization, no matter how far back, if there's a record about those civilizations, every single one of them has some sort of worship or homage towards something, some creature that looks or acts like a reptilian. The snake has it in the Bible. The Hopi people have it. The South African tribes have it. The Chinese still to this day worship the dragon. The Norse gods we used to fight the dragons and the reptiles. Every serpents, whatever it is, whether it's a snake, whether it's a fucking something that's like cold-blooded, basically, that's green and looks like an amphibian of some sort. And then you hear today, you hear that governor, was it governor or a congressman from Tennessee, who says that basically it was almost like disclosure. He basically says, yeah, it's a common thing now that there's at least 5 bases in the deepest parts of the oceans, and that's where they come from, right? And like, if you live under the water, wouldn't surprise me if you have some sort of amphibian / reptilian sort of style to you, because the creatures that we know and experience, those things are more likely like the things that are generally that can hang around water. They seem to be reptiles or amphibians, right? So, and every single culture, back to the point, every single civilization believes in or worships or has some sort of like documentation of belief in creatures that are of that persuasion.
Yeah. Have you ever had an ant farm? Have you ever had an ant farm? It would make sense to me that this group of aliens, reptilians, whatever you want to call them, they just dug underneath the earth and just carried on digging, and they've gone under the deepest parts of the earth. The Mariana Trench, which is what 10,000 feet or something like this. Like I said to you on the previous shows, like I think they've got down as far as 10,000 kilometers. I think what we've experienced is
10,000 kilometers.
What's that?
Who's got that down as far as 10,000 kilometers?
These underground bases, these underground tunnels, these bases, they go down as my research tells me.
The deepest hole that humans have ever built is somewhere in Russia. Yeah, and it's only like 10 kilometers.
It's 8 miles. It's not even
8 miles. But people started getting scared, didn't they? When they
exactly. We're not talking about humans. We're talking about ants. If you've ever had an ant farm, they just keep going, mate. If you've ever had an ant farm, you just see them dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and they keep going.
I think we know where those bases are, like the army or like at least the U.S. military. Like when you see those videos of Nimitz, of those UFOs, right? They're flying, but they came from water. So the Navy and the Army, they know where the bases are. The only question is there are a lot of like whistleblowers are coming out saying like the government's work with those aliens. Like, so that's the question, right? But I don't know. Again, it's the whole new can of worms. But the CIA back in the day, they had this Stargate program where the remote viewers were asked to find out all the secrets from like the Soviet secrets, and they saw like the dark side of the moon, and they saw a bunch of other stuff. So since then, a lot of them were talking about different like alien races and different types of aliens. And the CIA actually had this whole like write-up about religion and about different species of aliens. So they're like the tall whites, then they're like the reptilians, then there's this, that. I think
there's one apparently that looks like a spider, not a spider, like a
the mantis, the praying mantis.
Praying mantis, yeah.
And those ones are in charge.
Of all of the listen, if I fucking wake up one day and there's an alien at the end of my bed, would you rather it be a grey alien, a reptilian, or a fucking praying mantis? I tell you what, praying mantis is the bottom of my list. That motherfucker, those things look scary. I could handle a reptilian. Don't get me wrong, it would scare me, but I could handle a reptilian. I'd be like, you still kind of look a little bit something like fucking praying mantis.
Can I pick none of the above? To answer Eugene's question, I think in America there's in New Mexico there's a base called Dulce Base in New Mexico, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
That's one of the deepest underground bases that the military own in America.
Yeah,
as far as my research tells me, and it's one of the original ones from like the 1960s, 1970s, and this is where they collaborate with aliens or ant people or whatever they are.
And like what they're saying is the greys, those are the robots that are being made, but the ones in charge are like the tall whites, and then the mantis people.
The tall whites are supposed to be the good people, though. They're supposed to be the good side, aren't they?
Well, they might be like us from the future, but like different types of aliens. They're like the reptilians, the mantis people.
Yeah, but the reptilians are supposed to be proper like nasty fuckers, proper evil.
Yeah, exactly.
The greys are supposed to be like the kind of gophers of the reptilians. They're sort of like the androids that get told to go and do this. Like you go and fuck around with them for a while, go and do that. Like they go and do little missions, side quests. But there's apparently also some aliens that are supposed to be the good guys, and I think they're the tall whites. I think that the ones that look like British people.
I mean,
these
good
are the Nordics. No, I think that was the
Nordics.
Yeah. Someone's got to be on the good side, mate. Otherwise, what are they waiting for? Just fucking eat us all up now. Like what? Why are they like fucking around? If they're all against us and they're all super powerful and live for 10,000 years, why are they letting us think? Why are they letting us fuck around thinking that we're all donuts here?
We're drilling commodity for them. We're digging up all their gold and silver and paying them 60% of our life in taxes.
Yeah, true that. All right, let's move on.
It's free money. Last one for me, mate, and I've got to go. So last one.
Yeah, okay. We'll say we'll do this next one next time. Let's go for. I don't know which one we'll go for. Let's go for this one here then.
This right here, and tell me if this doesn't blow your mind. That's a human hair right there. This is the Apple CPU, the little chip that's in your phone or your computer. Yeah, watch it and tell me this is not fallen angel technology. I don't know what to say. Because nobody can make something like this. Not even a laser can shoot down that far and create something like this. Yep, just keep watching. We're going way deep. Oh yeah, we're not done yet. It goes further. Yep. And we hit the bottom. Finally.
What the fuck?
I don't get it.
It's like that at the very top was like the width of a human hair. Let me show it again. Right?
This right here, and tell me if this doesn't blow your mind. That's a human hair right there.
Okay.
This is the Apple CPU, the little chip that's in your phone or your computer. Yeah, watch it and tell me this is not fallen angel technology. I don't know what to say.
So he's basically
because nobody can make something like this.
Smaller than a human
Not even
hair.
a laser can shoot down that far and create something like this. Yep, just keep watching. We're going way deep. Oh yeah, we're not done yet. It goes further. Yep. And we hit the bottom. Finally.
That's like
Is it the same guy with the camera?
Huh?
Is that the same guy who was holding up the phone?
Oh,
and
you
the
don't
camera?
believe what a microchip looks? Because
No, that's what it looks like. I know it's a microchip.
Yeah, but look how fucking how zoomed in it goes. You unimpressed by it?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, look at your phone. Look at the iPhone or whatever. It's your phone, right? That's a computer. Like,
I think the point he's making is that we've gone from like wagon wheels and windmills to that shit in like 50 years. How? Without the help of something else.
That's true.
Yeah.
If that's actually a human hair and that's the real microscopic close up of hair, like it's very hard to deny some type of grand design.
Exponential technology, singularity soon to be here. It's gonna get even crazier.
Yeah, absolutely wild. All right, listen, we got to go. I've got about 30 videos we can do next time. Did you enjoy this sort of format? Let us know in the chat, by the way, if this format is okay, rather than going deep into any particular topic. I mean, we can do that as well at some point in the future. But just to get our feet under the table with this streaming about conspiracy stuff, we'll just do this for a few shows. I'll go and find a bunch more. See if I'm probably been copywritten about 400 times already anyway, so it's probably a dead stream. But let us know if you enjoyed it. And
do you know what I like about it is I like the fact that it's like there's no planning. It's kind of like testing your knowledge of like your real like grasp of different conspiracies. Yeah, there's no like you can't fake it. Your opinion is your opinion, and like you're going to let off that you know or you don't know. So I like the fact that it's really off the cuff, and you know if you got this will thing going for the next time where it's even more like it's going to feel like a game show. But no, it's going to.
This is like the Bolivian second division football. Like if you know, you know. You know what I mean? Like you got to have the real knowledge. This is not.
You got a real, yeah. So go study up. Go and ask Grok. Grok, I don't need the top 25 conspiracy theories. I need your next 50. Okay, give me some real wild shit, just in case Sean pulls up a video on it from Instagram.
There was a couple of suggestions on the last one. One of the comments was the Grey Pope, which is a good one. That's a really good one. The Grey Pope is a good one. You know, it's the real controller of their religions and stuff. I think that's a good one to bring up. I think you should need to go into the underground tunnels like Istanbul. I think I mentioned you before, like the underground labyrinths of tunnels and stuff. I think is a big like eye opener for a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people understand like how much is underneath our feet. You know, like we need to try and scratch the surface. Yeah, Istanbul is a really, really good one.
Yeah, we'll do that. Eugene, do you want to become a regular part of the show, Eugene?
Nikos, by the way, you're awesome. Sean, you got to create that group. Nikos, I got to connect with you offline. This is like you're my brother from another mother. We might disagree
so if I come across a little bit abrupt, mate, but there's just certain things where I like hear them, I'm like, nah. not having it.
That's what makes it. That's what makes it fun. You and I disagree on things, but it's all about being open-minded, and it's all about fun, right? It's all about. This is super fun for me. Sean,
Yeah,
appreciate it.
the good thing about conspiracies, and again, a lot of people that are probably new to this, is like it's a journey. You know, like you have to wake up tomorrow to expect to be wrong about something that you think that you know. It's about that whole unlearning process and relearning process. You know, no one's an expert. Everyone's still trying to figure out the right information, and none of us know the real answers. But the real key to it is just being skeptical about a lot of the stuff we've been told, because most of it is lies. You know, a lot of it, you know, is being undone on a daily basis now.
Like
conspiracy
7
theories
years
are like
ago,
100 to 1 right now.
like 7 years ago, or even maybe like 8 years ago, I was laughing at all the conspiracy theorists. I'm like, oh, you guys are nuts. But then it's all like COVID, and then like I learned more like Operation Paperclip and all that stuff that Rogan was talking about. Like all these crazy conspiracies that actually are true, and people don't do the research. You can actually go and look it up. Like 50% of all that stuff. I'm not talking about like the flat Earth, but about like NASA and like Nazi, like all that stuff is true.
Eugene, by the time Nikos is done with you, you'll be a flat earther. I promise you.
Mate, we all start in the same place. We've all been indoctrinated since birth. We've all gone to the same schools, had the same education. It's just dedication to understanding truth, and that's all it is. Being a conspiracy theorist is just understanding more than what you was taught and being able to challenge it. That's what the key to it is. And a lot of people at that point in their lives now, where they're like, I don't believe this shit anymore. And there's lots of like tells. There's so many fucking lies. It's so easy to like start to get on that side of the fence. I just want to be one of those people that speaks the truth and is appreciated for putting his face on camera and maybe waking a few people up. But you know, you all have to be in a place.
If
you know,
one person out of the 50 people that we're here. By the way, that we double and a halved our last show's concurrent views. So you smashed it, chat. Well done. You kept it.
Well done, Eugene.
Well done, Eugene. Well done,
Be careful, Sean.
We will
I'm in the States, Nikos is in Spain, so you're in the UK, so you don't want people showing up at your door, so be careful.
UK's fucked, mate. Get out of the UK where you can before they digital ID.
Well, listen, I don't think I'm saying anything that's inciting hatred, so I think I should be okay just to speak a little. If I get arrested for saying that the world is flat, then
mate, you're gonna get to that point where you're gonna realise I was right. I hate being that guy, but I'm gonna be like, I told you so, guy.
I'm not married to anything, man. I think the world is round. I think it is, but I'm open-minded. Mate, I don't know. I've not been up in the sky, so I haven't seen the curvature. So who the fuck knows?
Just be careful on that fence, mate. You'll get splinters.
All right, guys. We'll leave it there. Appreciate everyone. Thanks again. Please smash the like and subscribe. We'll see you in a couple of days. Tomorrow I'm at the Tottenham game, but maybe tomorrow night. Although I'll be absolutely smashed. I'm with Blaine, so I won't be doing tomorrow night. Maybe Monday night. Come on, the Blaine, no. Appreciate you all. Cheers, guys. And as always, bye-bye.